So I would like to take the time to rant to you about some webcomic tropes that I hate. In the background, we will have this lovely drawing of Nessa in the famous strawberry dress. One thing that really annoys me is that the bar is in hell for male leads in romance webcomics. I'm reading this one webcomic, and the main girl has a crush on a guy who is supposed to be her best friend. At some point, her male best friend notices that she changed her hairstyle, and she has this whole moment where she's like, oh my god, maybe he does care about me. Oh my god, this has never happened before. Bitch, is this not your childhood friend? Your best friend? And like, he notices that you changed your hair and you have to have a whole moment over that? And she's starting to kind of like the actual male lead, and like, because he smiled at her a few times. Girl, if these hoes do not get some standards, I am going to have to jump into the comic myself. Like, the girl could fall into a pit of lava and maybe her best friend, like, calls the police, and then she'd be like, oh my god, that was so sweet, he really does care. The whole plot of this same webcomic is that her and the male lead both have crushes on these people, and they're trying to make them jealous by pretending to be together, because that always works. It makes literally no sense, because she just expects to get into a fake relationship, and then, like, her male best friend will just suddenly be like, oh my god, female lead, you're so cute, I can't believe I never noticed. Like, if anything, won't he think you're a hoe? Because you just got into a relationship, now you want to start flirting with him? Like, won't he think that's questionable? You are not girlfriend material. You're for the streets. The whole time, she's just moping like, oh my god, nothing has changed between me and him ever since I got into a fake relationship. Bitch, of course! Maybe he has morals, he has standards. It's also really annoying that in these same comics, there's never any good representation of female friendships. Every female character that is there serves as a rival to the main character, and that is it. They have no personality outside of that. And as a result, the main character doesn't even want to give other female characters a chance at friendship. Like, she's just rude as hell. So currently where this comic is at is that her love rival wants to hang out with her. She did not want to hang out with the love rival because she says it's awkward. Girl, what's awkward? She is not checking for you. She does not care. What is awkward about it? Get over yourself. But the main male lead convinced her to hang out with the love rival anyway, just so this way she can get some information. So I guess they're all snakes and they all deserve each other. And that's that. Content warning for sexual assault for this one. So I cannot stand this trend of the main character waking up with a naked man after a night of drinking. Sometimes it's like shown later that they didn't actually do anything and they were naked for reasons because like, oh, she vomited and he just had to sleep naked. And other times it's like they actually did do the deed, and she was blackout drunk and cannot remember it. I honestly cannot stand the amount of featured webcomics that do this shit. Girl, listen, if you wake up after being blackout drunk with a strange man, call the police, okay? Call your cousin, call your mother, call your father, whoever you gotta call. It's like this trope is there to create sexual tension between the two leads, but also, like, keep the main girl's innocence, quote, quote, which is so weird. If you really want them to have sexual tension, then they could just, I don't know, have sex. Consensually. There's this one webcomic that kinda does this trend, and I cannot stand it. So the main girl is this editor to a writer who is supposed to be amazing, but he also sexually harasses every single woman within a 2-mile radius. Despite his assurances that the main girl is too ugly to sexually harass, he still does it. Of course, we get the scene where she gets incredibly drunk and passes out in bed, and for some reason he just has to sleep naked next to her. He makes her think that they did it, but it's later revealed that they did not do it, but she has a panic for the entire time, thinking they did. She's also very inexperienced and has never been with anyone else. He spends the next, 50 chapters constantly being hot and cold, leading her on and off, and every single dude in this comic is some form of sexual predator. Even the quote-quote nice guy has this scene where she gets drunk and he's like, oh my god, what if I can't help myself while she's dead-ass asleep? What do you mean, what if you can't help yourself? Huh? What if I can't help these hands that are about to beat your ass? How about that? Not a single character in this comic knows how to ask for permission for literally anything. The main girl is insufferable. I mean, she's meant to be incredibly innocent, but she puts up with so much bullshit, and she acts like the guys are noble because they do less than the bare minimum. The comic is like, oh, by the way, the second male lead didn't rape you last night. Isn't he so noble? No! That's normal! That's how it should be! Honestly, I can go on about this specific one forever. Content warning for implied incest in this one. The trope I want to talk about today, I don't know what else to call it other than the mommy trope. There is this one comic, and it's about a girl who is depressed because her childhood crush / best friend turned her down. She wakes up one day and there's an egg in her room. Inside the egg comes out a naked young man, the same age as her. She finds him very attractive, but he calls her mommy immediately. He calls her mama. Now, at first, this boy, he knows literally nothing. He is like a baby. He can barely talk. She has to teach him how to read and how to speak. She has to teach him how to shower, how to clothe himself. He's constantly in the nude. Meanwhile, she has these moments where, despite the fact that he is literally calling her and addressing her as his mother, she's like, wow, but he's really hot though. He finally starts to talk and act more like your average person. And at that point, she's like, wow, he talks and acts like an average person and he's hot as hell. I'm in love. And he's like, I want you to see me like a man. I cannot be the only person who hates this trope in general. I'm disturbed by it, not gonna lie. Because I feel like there's literally nothing he could do to make me see him as a potential love interest at that point. Like, it's almost like advanced grooming. Only a few comics that I think have done this trope in a somewhat okay manner. One of them is Winter Woods. Now, Winter Woods had sort of the same, problem. I mean, she did have to teach him how to be human. Overall, it approached it a lot more realistically, and both characters were adults and acted like adults. So I think that lessened some of the discomfort, but it was a much slower, more realistic progression, and it wasn't only because the main girl found the person she was teaching to be handsome. Like, that was not the only reason they got together, because that's such a shallow reason for you to suddenly overlook the fact that you raised this person. But yeah, that's that. That's just another trope that I find to be really common and that I personally don't like. It's not exactly for me.